With the primary elections behind us, what will be the focus for the general elections on November 4th? Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Laurel Hess and this is Comcast Newsmakers. Joining me now is the founder and executive director of Target-Insyght, Ed Sarpolus. Thank you so much for joining us
today.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure to talk with you.
So, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. We've got those primaries behind us. No real big surprises other than Proposal 1 that passed. And
Proposal 1 I think is very key, Laurel, because this will be debated well past the November election, even though it passed in August. Because what's key to that proposal, in fact, may impact Governor Snyder or Republicans going forward. That whole proposal is contingent to be successful, get money back to the cities because we're reducing property taxes for businesses on things they purchase, is that our economy continues to grow. Number two, the fact that the government continues to close or let the corporate loopholes to be closed. Because the bottom line, if the economy does not get better and they don't allow the expiration of the loopholes, the bottom line, the state will be, and the communities will be short another $500 million.
When does that all go into effect? Not until after 2015, correct?
So well, it's fully in place in 2015, but over the next couple of years it's going to be rolled out. But the point being, by 15, 16, whatever, if the economy doesn't turn around or loopholes don't close, we'll be back where we are now under revenue sharing, where cities were promised something and they're not getting it. So it's a good thing if it all works, because a lot of people support it, obviously. Many business people did. I'm a small business. It looked very good. But the question is, we have to commit to those loophole closes and be sure the economy improves.
And other than that, it seems as though most of the elections that took place for Wayne County executive and all of the congressional races and whatnot, pretty much what was expected happened.
Well, there were some surprises. Brenda Lawrence, who's been a perennial campaigner, losing for county exec races, running for governor and with as lieutenant governor, she finally won in a very closely competitive race. The other thing we learned in this election, in the primary, that money didn't always work and endorsements didn't work. Rudy Hobbs had almost every major Democratic endorsement, support from Sandy Levin with helping him raise money, spent nearly $1 million, and he still lost against Brenda Lawrence by not that many votes. We had Paul Mitchell in the north, Congressman Camp, spent over $2.5 million of his own money and lost. So we learned it doesn't work. The other thing we learned is you can have an election without an election. Terry Lynn Land, Mark Schauer, Gary Peters, and Rick Snyder, who you'll be hearing on the ballot, their campaigns in the primary were almost like they had competition. They spent tens of millions of dollars, but the real race is for November.
Well, so speaking of November, what should we be looking for come November as far as the hotly contested races, if there are any?
Well, there's a lot of contested races. One, there's potentially Democrats picking up seats in the state Senate. We're going to see some shifts there potentially. You go down the Monroe area of this thing, you've got Senator Richardville's seat's going to be open. Democrats looking to pick up there. You've got the center of the state, Saginaw area. Senator Kahn is retiring. You got Stacey Oaks, and Ken Horn, local person. That's a Democratic-leaning seat, but it's conservative, so Republicans think they can get it back. Competitive races, you've got Pam Burns running against Congressman Wahlberg down in the southeast Michigan area. There are some competitive races that Democrats will be looking at, or up north in the 1st Congressional.
As we see political ads ramp up and all the robocalls start, who's going to be calling us the most? Is that governor's race going to be a really hotly contested big race?
Oh my goodness. Every candidate now does robocalls. So maybe it's the one, what you're going to be remember the ones that you liked or the ones that you hated. But it's going to be all of them going to be doing it. What's interesting, in fact, we're seeing a dichotomy here. Right now we're seeing Governor Snyder is going to be faced with, Mark Schauer, who was expected not to be so close, and now he is. And Terry Land, who was supposedly supposed to have beaten Gary Peters, has been trailing in the polls.
So lots of stuff to look for. At least educate yourself. Go to that Secretary of State's website prior to casting your ballot, and make sure you're voting. You're educated before you vote. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today's Comcast Newsmaker was Ed Sarpolus, the founder and executive director of Target-Insyght.